Hey everyone, I made a mask today. I can't, It's been ages since I've dusted off my sewing machine, but a friend of mine shared a post for a mask, and I thought, you know what, I'll give it a try. I've got tons of fabric. Didn't think I had any elastics kicking around, but I actually do have some, so I was pretty excited about that. Anyway, I'm gonna post how I made it, and this one is actually made with bits of fabric, so almost like a patchwork quilt of a mask, if you would say. And I think you could actually reverse it. It would work that way too. So anyway, I'm going to post a few different videos, or do a whole bunch of videos on how I actually was able to create this. So here we go. First off, went into my sewing craft room. We call it my everything room. It's got all kinds of stuff. It actually becomes like the dumping ground in my home. I'm not going to show you any footage of that because it's quite embarrassing. Anyway, I'm on the floor, sitting on the floor right now doing these videos. And way back in 2013, I actually had signed on with 31 when it arrived into Canada. And part of the kit and part of the ongoing new quarterly products, there was new swatch cards that came. And each swatch card had prints and patterns and these little fabric swatches. And I had saved them. I don't know why I save everything, which, you know, can be a problem. But today, this is actually a good thing that I actually have these things. Anyway, so I took them all off the rings, and I've got a pile of them over here in sets of four, and I'll explain why they're in sets of four going forward. But they're quite handy. Now, not all of them are able to be used. These ones here are kind of a plasticized material. I'm sure I'll be able to figure out how to use them at some point for something else. And some of them are quite silky and very slippy. So again, products that 31 Gifts would have been using for the products. And then there was some that were quilted, and again, I haven't been able to figure out what I'm going to be able to do with the quilted ones, but again, some idea will come, or maybe one of you guys will have an idea for me. And the elastics that I had were, you'll see like these two here, were actually one solid piece. But because they only needed to be about 1/4 inch wide, I actually sliced them, and that's what I'm in process of doing with this one. This one is 3/4 an inch. Yeah, 3/4 of an inch wide. So I need 1/4 inch strips. So I was just slicing them up, and then I had another one that was a full inch. So I was able to get 4 strips out. And these you want to have then cut into about 6-inch pieces. I think that one is a little short. Actually, it's pretty good, pretty close. It's almost 6 inches, which is good. So we need a bunch of those done up in that sizing. And the other thing I found, I don't even know where I got it. Obviously, I got it as a hand-me-down because it's got a very old yellow tag. 47 cents. And I don't even know what store that is. Is that at Kmart? It must be Kmart. That is ages old. So that looks to be about 1 inch wide as well. And I'll be able to strip those into 1/4 inch strips. The other thing I found when I was checking out all my swatches was I had also, for a very brief minute, joined Jockey Person to Person, and they also had little fabric swatches. And once this cardboard comes away from here, these are going to be the perfect little cap ends to the masks. Not all of them obviously are going to be able to be used, but the thicker ones are going to be good at that point. Some of them are a little bit thin, but yeah, 4 pieces of swatches from my pile of 4 swatches, each set that I've kind of done a basic color, tried to kind of color coordinate them. And I cut the grommets off. So if you look, I've taken the end of that off, and have done that with all 4 pieces. I've taken those grommets off. And again, I'm just setting these grommets aside because they may have some use for something at some point in the future. I don't know. But yeah, we'll go from there. So basically with these 4 pieces is now we need to stitch them together. So I will be putting these 2 ends together. I'm going to put their faces together. These ones, it really doesn't matter because there's not a print that's like these kind here. Really doesn't matter because they don't have a front or a back. But this would be your face side if you had a print that you need to worry about. Same thing with this one. This is its face side. So you want to put your face sides together. Okay, so this is what it looks like once you've got your edges pinned together. So you've got your right sides facing each other, and you're just going to do a straight stitch along this way on both pieces. So we're going to press open this seam with the iron. Iron is hot and ready to go, and just right down the center. And we'll flatten this guy out too. Oops. Just like that. And the same thing with the second piece. Just like that. So then this piece and this piece, we are going to put those right sides together. And we're going to pin up here, and we're going to run a seam along here. Once you put these 2 right sides together and pin them together, this is what it should look like just before you go ahead and do your seam along here. So that seam's done up, and we're going to press it open. So open like you had done before, and press that whole seam. We're just going to put this right sides together. I'm going to pin along here, and I'm going to sew one line along here. This next bit I found actually a bit more difficult from the print instructions, and so I winged it a little bit, and I'm going to wing it again here. As long as you get the end result the same, you're going to be fine. Basically, you need to make three pleats. So there's the first one, and then the second one is about a 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch pleat. And then the last one up here. The last one. And this one's a little tighter than the previous one that I did, the first one that I did, but the idea will be the same. We'll have three pleats that will then be able to expand. And I'm going to take this to the ironing board and iron it flat, so it'll be easier to sew the edges in the next step. And there we go. This is what you should end up with at this point. Okay, just going to go and press it now. So press it flat, and you can press it flat on both sides. So after I pressed this closed, so I pressed these pleats down, I ran a stitch down each side on each end. And I can tell you that, again, my supplies that I had, I just used what I had. So I'm actually using navy thread. So you can pretty much use whatever you need at this point in time. I know I have a lot of it, so that I don't have to fool around with changing bobbins and thread color and all that kind of stuff. It really doesn't matter at this point as long as it holds together. So the next step now is to take our elastics, and these elastics are 6 to 6.5 inches long, and they're a quarter inch wide. And like I said before, if you just have the wide ones, strip them down their sides. So if you have a 3/4 inch one or a 1/2 inch one, if you have a 1/2 inch wide elastic, then cut it in half lengthwise. So then you have 2 1/4 inch strips, and 3/4 inch ones you can have 3, and full 1 inch ones you can divide then into 4, and you can do them that way like I had shown previously. So at this point we're just putting the pins, we're pinning the elastics to the edges like this, and on the instructions they said about 1/8 of an inch. Again, I'm not measuring, but I'm probably pretty close. And just getting the pins in. And then we're going to sew just those points in place. Oh my goodness, very dull pins. Makes a big difference when you have sharp pins. Good thing there's quite a few in my strawberry. once you get them in there, then make the sewing point across here again, just this point here, and do all 4. This is what it should look like when you have your pins in, and we'll carry on from there. Okay, so now I've done the finished the sewing of the elastics on the ends, and really at this point, if you just had raw, you could just go ahead with that. But to finish off these edges, taking another piece of fabric, and the little jockey patches that I had, swatches that I had, will suffice perfectly from that. So I cut it off the back that I had, and because this one's kind of like just black and grays, I thought I'll interject some color in that piece. So all I'm going to do is fold it in half, and cut it. And then these pieces will go on the ends, just like this. So I'm going to show you how I sorted that one out. And here comes another helper kitty. This one is Gizmo. We may have a few of them come and help. This one is, for this, we're going to turn it inside out, and we're going to sew the edges, these 2 edges. Just sew them there, and then when I come back, I will show you what I do with those sewn edges. So I've gone ahead and stitched that little piece, and I still obviously have my helper here. And I'm going to turn this inside out so that the right sides are now out. And just taking my scissors and bringing the corners out. Just like that. And this is where the difference is with the instructions on the written instructions that I was working from. I found that the fold over technique that was being used with the fabrics that I was using ended up being too thick, so folding it over didn't actually work. So I basically just made a little cap and capped it off. This one I didn't actually fold over, but the previous one that I had done, I had folded over, so I had finished edges and then sewed them. But this one I'm going to zigzag the edge as the finished edge. So pin it in place, and then it's going to be a zigzag stitch for this one. But like I said, you can finish it off the other way as well. And here we have yet another helper on its way. This one is Jinx. And there you go, you've got the finished mask. It can be extended for whoever needs to wear it. And it's reversible, and it's washable, so reusable, rewashable, all that good stuff.